Thanks, Richard, for those very generous words. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I only want to make a few comments. Firstly, I want to say that, as Richard discussed, you're all going to have to put up with me for the balance of the year. I'm not leaving today, and I think Richard's been really clear about the agenda that's in front of the team this year. But I think this timeline gives Richard and the Commission the right runway to work through the succession process, and allows us, me and the team, to work to the time to close out what we need to do to bring this thing to the sort of landing I'm planning on. Because the reality is there's the 4 or 5 huge things to get done still this year. I'd like to reiterate what I said when I accepted this role, that it's an honour and a privilege to serve this game. Best game in the world. That's why everyone loves it so much. The responsibility's never been lost on me, and I feel good that the game's in better shape now than when I took over, but the scoreboard for the others will be for others to judge. I'm leaving now because it feels right, right for the AFL, right for me, right for my family. It's clearly more complicated than that, but actually, in simple terms, it's not. It's the AFL's in incredible shape, and I say this, I hope you take it the right way. It's in incredible shape on whatever metric you assess it. It's footy's back pumping with a clear plan for continued growth, and I feel good about that. I feel it's the right time if we close out the stuff we need to do this year. I want to thank my 2 chairmen, Richard and Mike Fitzpatrick, and all the commissions I've worked for. I couldn't have hoped for 2 better people to work for and to learn from, and that they're both tremendous people. Have always had my back, and applies to their wives as well, Helen and Janine. I'm pleased that they're both all close personal friends, and it applies to so many of the commissioners and their partners, and I think Paul Bassett is actually here today as well, and their partners. I've been very lucky. Clearly, it also applies to my colleagues and teammates over so many years. So many people I've worked with over such a long period are so talented, dedicated, and I have so many close friends. And the reality is the AFL's been a huge part of my life, and it's all about the people, and I'm not going to individualise, other than to say I could never have imagined when I started that the friendships I would take from the AFL would be by far the most significant thing I'll take my time here. And it's not just to the AFL, it's across the clubs and our commercial and broadcast partners. Greatest game in the world is so because there's a bloody lot of passionate and mercurial people in and around it. And I think footy brings out the best in them. And this includes all of you, mostly. There's exceptions. Finally, I want to thank my broader family and friends for their support and counsel, but specifically my wife Laura and our 4 incredible kids, Edie, Cleo, sometimes Sydney, and Luna. Laura is a peerless mother and partner, and my last call for review on almost every issue. She's ridden every bump, been in every melee, and been part of every possession, both those on the outside, but certainly those in the inside. And after such a long time, I want to thank her and the kids for being so much a part of every bit of it, and for making my life and my time here so much richer. So thank you all. Happy to take questions.
The sense of relief almost being here now, given what you've been through, particularly in the last 8 months?
Yeah, there's relief, there's regret, there's everything. It's clearly an emotional day because I've spent 20 years of my life here, but I feel very good about where the league is, and I feel good about the fact that that's the right time, and I've got a plan with Richard and the Commission for this year. They can get done what they need to do, and my team will do what we need to do, and clearly then I feel good that my family are looking forward to a bit of a different world going forward as well, and that's clearly been part of the decision.
Gillon, you said a few
Richard and I are in constant contact. You know, I think if you've got a relationship like I do with Richard, you're talking about the future all of the time. And coming out of COVID, as we had a line of sight, we're talking about, you know, I think Richard said he was looking at a more longer term view, and I just felt that as people came back to the football, as we closed out the grand final of AFLW, Richard and I flew to Adelaide together and we had a chat, and I just said, I think this feels right, and we come out now. Hopefully it's not a distraction to the women's grand final or to the men's season. It just felt the right time then that they could get done what they need to do this year, because it might take 6 or 7 months or whatever it's going to take to find the right replacement, and I can get that stuff done, and also I can have conversations with others and look ahead a bit with my family and with others. So I said genuinely a month ago, Sam, one day, and it just felt right on the weekend. We had that conversation. We sat in the front of a plane and nutted it out, and that was about it.
So it wasn't a phone call, it was seat 1A and 1B?
It actually was. It was 1A and 1B. Because
1C, actually, I think.
Did you expect this conversation to be coming for a while?
Yeah, as Gil said, Sam, you know, you need an open and trusting relationship, particularly Chair CEO, and you know, so yeah, it wasn't a surprise, as you'd expect. I've looked to try and push it back a bit, but as I said, I said earlier, I think it's fair play. I think it's I totally get it from Gil and the family's point of view, and you know, I'll do everything I can to work with Gil to make sure this is a really successful year for the AFL. But I'll also help Gil in terms of any counsel I can be in the next phase of his life as well.
Gil, did COVID keep you in the position for a bit more longer than you may have anticipated?
I don't know about the role, because I think you sort of, there's swings and roundabouts and highs and lows of this. What was clear that once that started, that I would never have felt comfortable leaving until everything I thought was in order. And, it was a tough couple of years. There was moments there that I probably could have, if it was an option, you would have. But it's a hypothetical I'm not avoiding. I just don't know. Everyone will have their own views. I just feel good that if we're leaving this year, if we do what we're going to do and where the game is, that it's the right time for the game and for me, and I'll feel good about where the game is, and that's been my primary, it's been my job, and I've taken it very seriously. As I said, it's been a real privilege and an honour, and I'm aware of it every day. And then for me, family and other things, it'll be time to look. It feels like it's time to look forward.
Gil, you're a planner, that's why you're in the role. Without COVID, do you think you would have been 10 plus years as chief executive? Would that have been, before 2020 hit? Would you have been thinking about that?
I just never thought like that, Roger. I just don't. I feel like I've had an open conversation all the time with Richard, and I've never had plans like that. You come, if you've got an agenda, you come and do it to the best of your abilities. I love working with the team I've had. I've loved our industry. I've loved every part of it. So I've never planned to be 10 or 6. As long as I've come in engaged, responding to the day-to-day, and also hopefully, as I said, as you said, planning and looking forward. And then there's obviously just a time. And I really not, as I said, there's obviously lots of little pieces, but it just feels the right time, and I can't be clearer than that. Primarily it's the right time for the AFL. I feel Richard has a slightly different view, but and obviously for me and my family, and I feel very good that it'll be handed over in good shape, and whoever takes it forward's got a good platform to run with.
We've never seen you this emotional. Your family look absolutely wrapped.
Yeah.
How hard a call has it been for you, and sort of how much has family influenced that?
My wife would support me whatever I did every day of the week. So she clearly has views, but there's just no greater ally in the world than Laura, and so they are part of the decision making. There's no doubt about that. But this is my call, and it's clearly emotional because I'm leaving a big part of my life. But it's the right one. That when I stop reflecting on what I'm missing, I'll look forward, and I know it'll be another journey for us, which will be amazing.
You're still young, Bill. Do you know what it is you want to head down the path of now?
No, and that's fun. Well, I hope one day will be fun when I can actually. I mean, you can't talk to anyone anything, so I have no idea what I'm going to do, Damo. Someone said to me, "You can't sell a secret," and so I have not really. I've had obviously some thoughts, but I haven't had a conversation of substance with anyone really. I mean, I had a couple of conversations, but it's a bit of a blank canvas, and that's terrifying but exhilarating. And we're not there yet. I think everyone hopefully knows that what I've said to Richard, we will do, and I don't feel that, as I said to the club presidents, with the club funding model, will be the last thing I do, so they can't, give me too hard a time because they need the money. But obviously, I'll then hopefully have some conversations along the way and shape what that looks like. But I don't know.
Richard, you're invested in the organisation you're leading. What kind of CEO needs to replace you now? Internally, externally?
So was that me?
What kind of person does the AFL need now to replace you?
That is not, Michael, a decision for me, and I'm not trying to be churlish about it. That Richard and the commission, it's their decision to make. What I do feel absolutely certain about, that whoever replaces me will be completely different, and they'll have to bring their own style and be their own person, man or woman, and that was the only bit of advice that whoever gets the role, just be your own self and be your own person, and you'll go okay. And that was advice given to me by Andrew Demetrio, and I've hopefully brought that to bear every day I've been here.
When you reflect back on your time here, what's your proudest moment?
Now, I reckon that's for other people to talk to about what we've done. The pride for me, more broadly, is just I love this game. I love its impact. So.
Gillon, emotion talking about how much you love the game, how it felt for you to have your hands on the wheel of the game so much.
Well, you're aware of the responsibility because it means a lot to so many people. You're reminded of it every day. You can't walk down a street or into a shop, or you can't cross the road. You can't, So that it's. I've certainly been aware of the weight of the responsibility, but also that's a privilege and a response that I've felt that, and so it's not been a burden in the way that maybe it's asking. It's just been a special thing to have had, and I'm eternally grateful for Mike and the commission that made the decision at the time, and Richard, the support, and obviously all those have supported me to do it, and I've done the job I've done, and others judge what they think of it. But I feel we're in good shape, and I'm leaving hopefully with a thing better than when I started, and that was the job.
Richard, given what's happened in the last couple of years with COVID and the changing nature of the footy landscape, does that make it harder for you to get someone in externally? And I guess the other way of asking it would be easier to bring someone up who's been already building relationships underneath Gill to transition more smoothly?
Yeah, Sam, I don't think it's the right time to speculate on. All I'd say is, having made the comments I made at the opening about Gill and his timing, I feel really good about the quality of people we've got within the AFL system right now, in terms of AFL House and in the clubs. I feel we've got in that group people who are more than capable of taking over from Gill, and then we'll go through a process, and there may well be others that come to hand and we'll have a look at. So I feel very confident that in due course we'll be able to make an appointment, which will be a really strong appointment to take the AFL forward.
So what have you seen as Gillon's biggest strength, particularly in the last couple of years, that would make him hard to replace?
Gill's, I said earlier, his personal values, so that integrity, openness. There's not one significant thing in the AFL that he and I, when I've been in this role, haven't spoken about and discussed. But his intuition. So Sam, I'd say the last couple of years, the ability to see around corners And that's a great thing for a CEO to have, to sort of see what might be coming when it's not clear, and be prepared to make hard decisions when others are throwing their hands in the air and saying, gee, this is hard. And he did that with great aplomb. And I think, we all owe him a debt of gratitude for that.
We touched on some of the challenges there. I mean, the pandemic being one. I mean, Essendon was obviously a big one early in your tenure as well. Would there be anything you do differently along the way when you reflect on it, or do you have those challenges every day in the job?
I think I make tens of thousands of decisions. They're not all right, and there's always things you do differently. But substantively, I feel okay. We're out. That doesn't mean you don't. Yeah, as I said, you'd make a number of different decisions, but the big ones, I feel good. I mean, that was a tough period this last couple of years, and there's some big moments and some big calls we had to make, and we've come through that pretty well, and that's where we are today.
You mentioned the word regret, the first response you gave to us. What is your biggest regret in the role?
No, I didn't say regret. There was remorse, or I meant to say remorse. It's an emotional day. I think it was asked about how I'm feeling today. There's a bit all range of emotions. I don't have any regrets, so let's just be clear about it. There's no regrets about any part of the role. What I was maybe in an emotional saying was that there's a range of emotions today, and sort of some regret about what I meant to say was that that someone at some point you look back and go, well, that was an amazing journey. It's all done. That's what I was talking about. Not any aspect of the decision making. As I said, I'm sure everyone would have things they'd do differently, but I don't have any part of this role I look back on with any regret.
You mentioned a few big ticket items on the agenda for this year. Can you elaborate on those, particularly the women's CBA and also the licence in Tassie?
Yeah. So it's just easier to be clearer. So quietly, we've been having discussions with broadcasters and others. We'll do a new broadcast deal this year. That's huge. We'll have arrangements with our men and women players. We'll do new CBAs that will flow from that, and we'll contemplate that, and those discussions will be picked up in the coming days. There'll be a club funding model that will actually then contemplate all those arrangements, including hopefully have an interface with the men's and women's CBAs, and obviously Tasmania, and then the team will land the operational stuff this year. So that's the agenda that Richard's put in front of me, and we're just decided to be explicit about that today because that's the job in front of us.
Just on Tassie, have you had a dialogue with the new Premier down there?
No, I haven't as yet. It's sort of been a big few days for him and for us. So that will happen. I've spoken to the outgoing Premier, Premier Gutman, who, I actually ended up with a close relationship with him and said well done, and he's very confident that nothing will change from the Tasmanians' mindset.
What do you think the biggest challenge for the game will be once you're part of the incoming CEO?
There's always the day-to-day challenges, Peter, but I did pick up the paper this morning thinking if at 50 metres is the crisis of the day, we're actually in pretty good shape.
Richard, have you sought a longer-term commitment from Gill in recent times, or were you happy to go as on as he wanted? Obviously, you just mentioned that you had wanting to continue for a while. Had you sought a long-term extension?
No, because that's, Gill's always been really clear, as I said at the start, that what he wanted to do, not on timing, but at the point at which he thought would be the right time. And I know Gill well enough that he comes to that view, and I and the Commission work with him to make sure we get the best outcome around that, which I think we have. I think announced today, the rest of the year, big work plan.
What about the 3-year offer this morning?
Yeah, I did. He did say he was a bit emotional this morning, so I said to Brian Walsh, should I give him a call and give him one more chance? So, no, but I don't think that's Gill, and it's not me, and it's not a decision about money or time frame. It's a decision that Gill's made about when's the right time to go.
I'll just pick up your question before. It's not an easy decision, but it's the right one. And that's hard. As I said, it's just been an absolute privilege and honour and a great joy to be in this role. But everyone has their day, and I feel this is the right decision, and Richard is supportive of that for the game and then for me and my family, and that makes it pretty simple, as hard as it might be to call it, and then it'll be the right time to look forward.
Gil, you spoke about running decisions past Laura. Was there any that she vetoed?
Probably. Yeah, it's just been a partnership which I'm incredibly lucky to have, and that, you know, when you're about to do something, you can have one last person to run it by whose judgment you respect more above all others. So there's certainly been plenty of no's. I just can't think of anything I want to tell you about at the moment.
Kevin, following on from that, when you walk out of here for the last time, whenever it is later this year, what have you got planned, or more importantly, what have Laura and the kids got planned for you, do you reckon?
More space than I'm probably going to want. You know, I'm not going to get into all the indulgent part of that, Rog, other than to say it's a 7-day-a-week job, and I'm going to be able to not miss my son's basketball game, grand final on a Saturday, or his footy on a Sunday afternoon. So there'll be lots in and around that, but it'll be more time. But it's also, you know, you are who you are as well. And I'll probably feel that quicker than Laura would like.
Can you get the Saints to a flag before we...
They're going all right without me, Sam.
Gil, last couple of minutes. What would it mean for your leadership and your legacy, your leadership, if you were to have someone from within your team now, I guess, succeed you in your position?
Richard's got to make, and the Commissioner's got to make the right decision for what they see as the future. All I know, Mitch, is that there are a number of internal candidates, male and female, and I'm thrilled about that. There are a number of people who I'm hopeful will apply, and any of them who get it will do a great job in my view, but it'll be Richard's and others' decision, and that'll be based on how people will go about and what they want going forward, and that's nothing to do with me.
And will you be open to passing on endorsements or advice throughout the process if that's required?
You know me, I don't have views on many things, Mitch.
Will you outsource some of that process, Richard?
Yeah, Damien, we'll appoint an external search firm, so that just helps keep a bit of distance between the Commission and me and any potential candidate, and also that, you know, they bring some capability and expertise to it, and just enables us to step back a bit. So, but you know, it'll keep us busy for the coming up. It's the most important decision in many ways the Commission makes, I think, is appointing the CEO. So. Yeah, in a sense, I'm looking forward to it because, as Gil just said, we've got really good people, and I think we'll see the best of people, as we did, frankly, when I was on the Commission when Gil was appointed. And it's worth, you know, I was reflecting last night, thinking back to Gil's presentation to the Commission when he pitched for the role, and it was a superb presentation. He outlined a plan and a strategy. Didn't pick COVID, but other than that, he got most of it pretty, you know, nailed it. And so I'm looking forward to that because, you know, this is such an important, the AFL's more than the game, as you know, and this is very important that we get it right, and so, yeah, that'll be good.
Will you commit to being chairman for the next couple of years to see the new person in?
Well, I'm on the Commission at the behest of the clubs, but my intention would be to work with a new CEO for a period of time, because I think that's the right thing to do.
Do you have in terms of timeline, grand final day this year, would you hope to have a successor named Richard?
I'm not going to give any time frame, because all that just comes back and haunts you. You know, we'll play this appropriately, confidentially, and you know, we'll get to a good landing.